Emma the bad guy. Me and siblings want to go on holiday. Mom has practically disowned us. Me and my sister and my brother are going on holiday with our respective partners and children. It will be the first holiday for my son and my niece. For a bit of background, there have been previous disagreements with my sister and mom. My mom and her husband don't get along with my brother-in-law at all. We previously all went on holiday together in 2017 for my mom's birthday, at great cost. During that holiday, she drank too much and argued with me one evening and with my sister another. This resulted in them not speaking for around 6 months. When the holiday was originally booked, it was just a nice idea for me and my sister to go away together, as we have never done it, just us, and we were excited about it. When I told my mom, she immediately got upset, asking me why she wasn't invited. And I explained it was just something we wanted to do as siblings and wasn't supposed to specifically exclude her. Then I received a message from her husband telling me she was very upset and asking if they could come on the holiday, but stay somewhere different. I explained to him that I felt put in a difficult position, as I am in the middle, but will discuss with my sister and brother-in-law. Ultimately, we said we will prefer if they didn't, and it was just supposed to be our holiday. Fast forward to now, my brother and his family are having some financial difficulties and had told us they couldn't afford a holiday this year. Went out and drinking him, and my brother-in-law decided that they would come too, as they could fit in our villa and just pay for flights. I knew this would upset my mom further, but the deed was done, and realistically, I would love them to come along, as this are the two B people I grew up with, and we have never had the opportunity to spend this kind of time together. After telling my mom the above, we received a very long message saying how we are stomped all over her feelings and she sacrificed everything for us, and thought she would reap the rewards of it as we grew up, and now she doesn't know how we move past it. I have tried to explain, I have apologized that she's hurt, but I don't know what else I can do that I will fix it. She wouldn't accept that we can want to do this alone without it being a direct assault on her. She has not listened to anything any of us have said to try and rectify the situation, and just said, take care of each other. Sorry, I'm such a terrible person, Mom. So Emma the bad guy here. Emma the bad guy because I broke a promise to my mother that I will take her last name. My parents split when I was 10. My mother wanted to have mine and my siblings' last names legally changed to hers, but she needed my father's approval, and he said no. I promised my mother when I was 12 that when I turn 18, I will change my name to hers. On my 18th birthday last year, she brought it up at breakfast. I no longer am sure I want the name change. I told her I couldn't right away because I needed my father's help with a lot of college admission stuff. She wasn't happy, but she agreed to not bring it up until after I went to school. A week into my first semester, my maternal grandfather sent me unprompted $400 to help with legal fees for the name change. I told him I was busy with school and didn't have time to go it right away. At this point, I'm almost 19. My mother and grandfather are extremely frustrated with me. They keep reminding me that it is important to keep promises. They are also worried that if I don't change mine before my next sibling turns 18, he won't either. I know I made a promise, but this is such a huge decision. I have had this name my entire life, and giving it up feels like giving up a part of my identity. I know that sounds weird. My mother's last name is also harder to pronounce and spell in Western society than my father's. That shouldn't matter, but of course it does. I don't think all of my siblings will change their names regardless of what I do, and I would like to have the same last name as them. My father also has another kid now, and my mother's doesn't. Yet regardless of my reasoning and feelings, I made a promise. I don't think at the time I realized when I was promising, but I still promised. Furthermore, My father and I don't always have the best relationship. My mother has always supported me. I do think I probably owe her this. So I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy for wearing a short dress when meeting my friend's boyfriend for the first time. My friend has been dating a new guy for a few months and wanted me to tag along for drinks yesterday so I could meet him for the first time. I was willing to hang out with both of them and have a good time, so I agreed. About an hour before I was supposed to meet them, my friend called me and asked me for photos of what I planned to wear. I told her I was probably going to decide last minute after I showered. We were just going to bars, so I figured it wasn't that serious. She insisted I dress down and asked me not to wear any makeup. For reference, I wear really little to no makeup as it is, so I found her request extremely strange. At this point, I was annoyed. I asked her why she was trying to police when I wrote and how I looked, if she was uncomfortable with me being there. I could just stay home. I only agreed to do this because she asked me to. She apologized and said she was just looking out for me because I don't frequently go to bars and didn't want me to look silly. I thanked her for her concern and hanging up. While I stuck to my usual makeup routine, I decided to wear a dress that I was looking forward to wearing on a date. I was meeting my boyfriend for dinner after drinks with my friend, her boyfriend, so I figured it was the perfect time to put it on. When I arrived at the bar to meet my friend and her boyfriend, she was immediately upset. She pulled me aside and accused me of trying to steal her boyfriend. I told her she was being ridiculous. I hadn't even said more than a hi before she flew off the handle. She was standoffish the whole time I was with them, but I had a nice conversation with her boyfriend because we grew up in the same part of town. I had allotted about 2 hours to hang out with them, but I decided to leave after an hour. My friend messaged me the next day and said she was extremely hurt because I decided to dress hot despite her asking me not to. She thinks I purposely tried to make her look bad in front of her new boyfriend. I said she was insane because I've been dating my boyfriend for 3 years and don't want anything to do with hers. She is still extremely upset and won't talk to me even after I tried to make amends. So I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy for telling my kids' grandmas to stop red dressing them after I drop them off. I have 3 kids, and ever since my first was born, I have had the same issue consistently with her grandmothers. I will send her to their houses to be babysit while I work, and 7 times out of 10 will come back, and they will have her in clothing that was 2 sizes too and almost falling off of her. They claim that the clothes I put her in were so tight that they were cutting her in two, but that is simply false, and has continued to be a pattern with my own 2 children. To be clear, I dress my kids in appropriately sized clothing. None of it is form-fitting after they get out of the infant stage. I was severe anxiety about seats and smothering, so no loose too tight clothes for infants is a rule in my house for fear that it will somehow creep up and cover their mouth and nose while they sleep or cut off their circulation. So, to explain, if my child is measuring 0-3 months, that is what they will wear, not 6-9 months and so on. I tried setting a boundary by noticing the clothes when I will come in and changing them into the appropriate size right away in the front of the grandmas to get my points across. But they still continued to change them into bigger clothes when I was gone. I would also make the comment that we appreciate the clothes, how nice they were, and that we will save them at home for when they were able to fit into them. This has no worked to this day, and I finally reached my breaking point when I came in to find my 9-month-old in a 5T shirt. He isn't even chunky or large for this age. It seems to get progressively worse, as they think that each week the kids go up a full size in clothing. My kids have never done this and have always been right on track with height and weight. I'm also afraid that since my mother likes to buy my now 8-year-old girl clothes that are 2 sizes too big, that she's going to get a weight complex and eventually start thinking that she has a weight problem. Because that is what happened to me. I was always a little chubby and was around 2 weeks my whole life. And still am. And when I was in high school, my mother would buy me the biggest clothes. I'm talking 4X clothes. And when she buys me clothes now, it's the same situation and I have to throw them away because I will never be able to use them. I ended up having a meeting with the grandmoms and telling them what I felt. They knew what they were going crossed my boundary, so they immediately made me the willing, stating that I'm ungrateful for the clothes and that I'm dressing my kids in clothes that are too small. When they're only person out of the whole family that thinks this, and the rest of my family respects my boundaries, I ended up telling them that if I didn't stop, I wouldn't be able to leave my kids alone with them anymore. So am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy about not telling my parents about me undergoing hormone replacement therapy? So long story short, it was the second time I saw my dad cry. I didn't know that me transitioning would be such a big deal for them. So he explained his thoughts and feelings in this manner. He also added mom in behalf of the side of his story. He said, I feel betrayed when you didn't even ask us for concern that you will do this to your body. We are in the stage of gradually accepting your gender. You suddenly took hormones without us knowing, and that hurts us. Because of this LGBT thing, you learn how to lie and rebel against your parents. It came out back then and we weren't supportive. But your mom and I talked it out. I told her that we don't have a choice because our kid turned out this way. This is because we care about you. But right now, we are starting to accept you. And then you started HRT. I told him back then I didn't really care about you saying the manner because I was suffering. I was planning to tell you beforehand, but you and mom treated me being trans as something negative. It felt like I was the only one in the house supporting myself. I have no one. You and mom always tell me that you support me, but your action says otherwise. I didn't feel you care, so I'm sorry that I decided not to tell you. I acknowledge the fact that I was wrong for not telling you, but I don't regret it. Then he opened up, then even though the actions to me were negative, he and mom have been talking about how to accept me. How should I know that? They never tell me anything. He also complained why I didn't tell them. I repeated my answer again. If I can actually see and feel your care and acceptance, then maybe I should have told you about it. The entire time, I was always telling you and mom that I'm open for a conversation to learn about me being transgender, and disagreed at it. Our conversation about my gender always end up you being mad or me crying. How can I properly open up when you don't even listen to me? You should listen to us because we are your parents. You don't respect us as a parents anymore. That's not how communication works. As a parent, you should listen to your children. And as your kid, I have to listen to you too. Communication is not one way. And a note, he finished it with a, if you can't be under us, if you don't follow the rules, when you're still lying under our roof, just leave. I don't care what happens to you. You can attach the panties in your body and wouldn't care. Leave the house. I'm so concerned right now. All this because of my gender. So I do think that I'm wrong for not telling them. But they don't understand. I choose ART because not only I want it, I needed it. I don't want to stop HRT. I'm willing to continue behind my parents' back, so that means I have to lie again. I'm contemplating about leaving the house for good, but the plans is so risky. I don't have the financial aid, but I would like to be away from my parents because all of us are hurting. Not only my heart's hurt, but also my head. I'm already stressed out about school, graduation, then college is on the way, so I have so much on my plate. and in my own house. I can even rest. So am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for being super happy that my parents are divorcing? I live with my mom and stepdad. They have been together for 10 years, but their relationship has always been shitty, and my stepdad is one of the worst people I ever met. I'm not gonna explain why, as it will go over the word limit. Today I will share the most recent event that has led to the start of the divorce. The most recent Wednesday evening, my family and I were eating dinner. We were all having a good time and eating when I brought up something that had happened with my dog earlier that day. It went like, "Hey mom, not to say anything about little cousin," not using his name, but the dog was acting super weird with him when he wanted to go play. He didn't leave my side and was clawing and growling, but like I said, I'm not saying anything happened. My stepdad then said, "So you think little cousin hurt him?" He was clearly mad while saying this, and I bickered back in front with him, explaining how I literally said that I don't know if anything happened. Soon I was annoyed and just told him to drop it after he tried changing the conversation multiple times. Like 10 minutes later, I asked him where the dog Lash was, and he literally just looked up at me and back at his phone 3 times. And I went to my mom and told her she got mad. She then went to go to him and they argued. My stepdad always tried to put the blame on me and convince my mom that I'm lying. She's smart enough to know her kid wouldn't lie about something so stupid. He brought up irrelevant stuff and my mom dismissed it. I started crying after this and told him about how I always hate how I'm framed for lying and him trying to say I'm getting him in trouble and etc. He stormed to the basement. I went to walk to calm myself, and when I came back I got the best news of my life. My parents were finally splitting. My dreams for so many years is finally coming true. I asked my mom a bunch of questions and then I asked her why didn't she do it sooner. This is where I think I'm a bad guy. So she started crying and saying that she was trying to give me a good life and now she has 2 failed marriages and that she feels so guilty. I started crying and saying that I felt like it was ruined by me and not her. As I got in a lot of arguments because of my conflicts, she told me that it wasn't my fault and that my stepdad isn't a bad guy because of the way he was treated when he was younger. They are planning on divorcing in September because my grandma, mom's side, is battling with cancer and I'm heading to college in August. So this summer might be rough, but soon it'll be over and at least I wouldn't be in hell anymore. So guys, do you think I'm a bad guy? And some info, my stepdad parents are visiting so he's acting perfect now. He also has been a bad guy since like day 1. He ignores me and gets mad at everything. My mom isn't the bad guy in this story. I'm trying to give all sides as best as I can. She understands of how I feel. So write in the comments below what do